everybody. Welcome back to the May 2018 edition of Keeping It Real, live from Atlanta, Georgia. I am the Godfather of Web Television. My name is Dennis Aloia, and I am going to have such an interesting person on tonight. You are just going to be completely pleased. I have had such a great week this week. My son Mike, who's the CEO of this company, along with his friend Peter Hefty, a very talented ventriloquist and comic, have been spending a few days with me and doing some work that we need to do with the station, or rather the network, not a station. We have the complete network of radio and television with American Hearts Radio. We've been going over some plans for the future, and I'll tell you what, God has dropped in our laps some wonderful, wonderful people to assist us with our mission going forward and making this the best internet television network ever. People just are not doing what we're doing. And I'm so looking forward to the future and the things that this network is going to be able to do. And I hope that you'll continue to be part of this by watching our shows, supporting our sponsors, because we have people that are everyday people on here that are so successful and so inspirational. With all the bad news out there on your regular network TV and radio these days, it's such a refreshing change to talk to real everyday people and see how they became successful. And to me, that's the best high in the world, not turning to alcohol, drugs, or anything else, but just looking inward, picking yourself up, forming a mission, going forward with it, and becoming successful. You can't buy that, folks. That's the best high in the world. And we like to promote those kinds of people, okay? Anyway, we're going to take a short commercial break here in just a moment or two, and when we come back, you're going to meet my guest, who's a wonderful lady, a wonderful professional entrepreneur, and has many facets of her successful life to talk about. So stand by, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Please donate to the Hands and Feet Foundation Westside today. This ministry is a 501c3 non-for-profit organization. They feed people everyday hot meals. They give away clothes and food, and they also offer a sanctuary and prayer. Donate to the Hands and Feet Foundation on the West Side, Jacksonville, Florida, right there on 103rd Street. God bless you. Tell them American Hearts Radio sent you. We're on a mission for God.
Please visit Hands and Feet Westside, www.facebook.com/handsandfeet.org, or give them a call at 904-465-5083. 904-465-5083.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for coming back. I have a very inspirational lady that I met very recently. Her name is Yvonne Gamble. She's been in the financial industry for the better part of 35 years, and she's worked for some major companies, and she decided in the not so far away past to start her own business. And she's an entrepreneur with a great spirit, and I love what she's all about, and I'd like to introduce her to you and see if we can start, Yvonne, with what are you involved with today?
Whoa, okay. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'll have to say a number of things.
Okay.
And one that I really want to kind of talk about a little bit is the mobile hospitals.
Mobile hospital, that's interesting.
Yes.
What's the concept?
The concept is to have the mobile hospitals to service an area of 20,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And what that would actually do is with the preventative care,
mm-hmm.
they'll do the preventative care, they'll do a diagnostic, and then they actually have those are the mobile preventive care units, and then they actually have a mobile hospital that they build, and that then will actually do the treatment.
Well, is that already a viable company out there in the communities now, or is that a business plan that you have?
That is actually a viable company in Brazil.
In Brazil, okay.
Yes, and they are looking to bring that model here into the United States.
How did you find out about this company way down south in Brazil? You're here in Atlanta.
Yes, and my company, San Pete Financial Group, we are international.
Okay.
So we have lots of connections with overseas companies, overseas concerns, and so we were called on by this company to actually help with this effort to bring it to the United States and all its territories.
So your company has an international reputation, basically, and you're out there in that community.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's interesting. Any other international companies that you can think of that have a really different sort of business plan?
There's several out there. We're working with another company, helping them raise capital, and they're building actually telecommunications tower in sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay.
And so they're trying to build those out to bring Wi-Fi internet and television shows, just like what we're seeing here today. They're trying to bring that out, to sub-Saharan Africa.
I have a question about that. Now a lot of these are, well, that's a third world country. I don't know what their political structure is, but do they put, I guess, limitations on the population as far as being able to access the internet?
Yes,
They do.
So right.
So the government controls it.
The government controls it.
Okay.
Exactly.
So this would be a government entity of building
Yes.
the towers?
That
and
would
so
have.
forth?
We would have to work in partnership.
I see.
Yeah, that particular company has to work in partnership with the governments in those separate nations. So that's not throughout all the nations. Remember, Africa is comprised of
Many nations,
different
right.
nations. So those countries that are more amenable to you coming in and doing that will be the first,
I see.
and then you pick up the others.
Okay. Well, it's a big wide world out there, and technology is changing our world every day.
Every day.
By your involvement with these cutting-edge companies, it must be a pretty interesting thing to see happen.
It truly is. It truly is. Myself, I'm a technologist and I'm a futurist, and this feels very good, this era, this period that we're in right now, because many of these different plans, these different things have been on the drawing board for years. But we've had the technology, we didn't have the people, and in some instances we're still trying to bring the people along, with training, with development, and what have you. But it feels very good when you can actually see something come to fruition.
Well, that's very well said. What are you into robotic companies? I think that's the future. Robotics.
Yes, we are. We have several companies out there that are getting their feet wet, in the robotics and in the AI. And right now,
AI, artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. Right now, many companies are a little bit afraid of AI because they're worried and they're concerned, and you do have reason to be, because what you don't want to do is to create something that is going to take you out in the long run. But at the same time, we have to look at the benefit that it brings to us. So there has to be a life balance that's struck between the two, bringing the AI into the picture, but at the same time keeping the human factor in the picture.
Can I tell you a story about AI?
Sure.
Artificial intelligence. A very good friend of my son's is visiting with us. His name is Peter Hefty. He is a professional ventriloquist. So he and I are going to do shows together. I'm a professional magician. I've been doing it for half my life. So we're coming up with this concept that we're going to bill ourselves as the Sunset Boys. You heard the Sunshine Boys.
Right.
We're going off into the distance in our later years. So one of the bits that we talked about was a mind reading thing.
Oh, okay.
Where his dummy reads my mind. So that's a great illustration of artificial intelligence interacting with humans, right?
Okay, that's a new one. That's a new spin on it.
Anyway, it's original. I think it's going to go over pretty well. We're going to have fun with it because it opens up a whole new dynamic.
Yes, it does.
I've worked with dummies over the years, but never a wooden one. This will be a first. But I love to laugh, and Peter does great comedy with the dummy. And tell you a quick personal story. I have a grandson who's 7 years old. He's autistic. He doesn't speak hardly at all, but he's getting there, slow but sure. And he's a very standoffish little boy. He's kind of shy, So Peter and brought his dummy out at my house the other night, and my grandson was there, and Pete sat the dummy on him, and he's opening up the mouth, and he's talking and throwing his voice. And little boy looked at him. He went right up to that dummy, gave him a big hug.
Oh.
I thought, my goodness, he connected with the little, puppet character. I thought, this is a great outlet for an autistic kid. Now maybe he's going to be involved with trying to learn how to do this, and maybe it'll bring him out some vocal, speech in him. It's amazing how kids react to the arts.
Oh, it is.
I've done magic shows for challenged kids, and some of these kids are really, really physically challenged in a big, big way. And a teacher told me afterwards, she said, this one little girl in particular, she never participates in much. She's very, by herself, loner. Boy, she perked up when I did magic with her. Made her the star of the show and helping me, blow on the thing and the silk comes out, and just anything visual to help her out. But I digress. This is about you.
Oh, no. When we're talking about the kids, that's what it's all about. Yeah. That's truly what it's all about. Right. It's all about them. It's about the people. It's about the people who are out there. One of the things that I like to do, I pick and choose. Mm-hmm. You're right. I've been in this industry, for some 35 plus years, and I've enjoyed it, and it's been very good to me, and I've been very good to it. And so because of that, now I pick and choose those projects that I want to take on. You
got to have passion for it.
Exactly.
And it pleases you too.
Exactly. Right. And it helps people.
Yeah.
So I find myself now doing a project that's going to help and benefit mankind. If it doesn't do that, then we don't take that on.
But that's wonderful. Think about your legacy.
Exactly.
When people remember you, what did she do? She was so good with people. She tried to help people, and hey, if that's what people think of me when my time comes, I'm happy with that.
That's it.
You go out on a happy note, and people have positive memories of you. And I had great parents and I had a great uncle and aunt I loved dearly. Used to spend summers with them, and they would do anything in the world for me. They were like my own folks, Those are the people you remember, the givers, the doers. The takers, not so much.
Right.
I always believe two kinds of people in this world, the givers and the takers, and I try to hang out with the givers because they're very great people, and the takers are high maintenance, dishonest people in many cases. But, again, I digress.
Okay.
It's your interview, I'm sorry. No, you just keep rolling. I mean, this is such a good discussion. We start with business, and we go to family, and we go to kids, and who knows where we're going to go next. This is the whole adventure of this format. Isn't this fun?
That's good. It is.
Yeah.
I'm having a good time.
Oh, I'm having a terrific time. Yes, you are hereby invited to make a return visit anytime you want to.
Okay.
Because I know that you're interested in a lot of different things, and you're a very successful person, and I like successful people. I like to learn from successful people. Success rubs off on people, folks. It really does. And this lady was on another show that we have on our network with a lady named Tammy Arnold, and she talked in depth about her businesses and her interests, and it was a great show, and Tammy's very successful, and so is she, and these are the kind of folks we're trying to attract to this network and be a permanent part of us. Because going forward, if we have people that are like-minded and want to help others, that's one of our key mission statements in this network going forward. We want to be able to make a difference in people and mankind if we can, and leave behind a great legacy in the process. So you also, if I'm correct, have just started another venture with a company called FES. Is that right?
Yes. Can
you explain to our viewers what FES is about just, for a few minutes?
Sure, definitely. I'd love to. FES, it's very simple, financial education services. And what it actually does for the individual, for families, is it actually helps you get your credit, your personal credit back in line. That's where you start. That's your foundation. Whether you want to go into business or whether you want to just be able to make purchases, you have children, you want to send to college, you want to leave a legacy, whatever you want to do in life, in this society, you're going to have good credit. And that's what FES does. So not only does it help to repair the credit, it gives you all the necessary tools to do that with. It gives you those tools to get loans. It gives you those tools so that you can actually go out there and You can make the necessary purchases that you need to make. And what's also very important is it helps you to get jobs. When your credit is not in order, that's going to keep you out of many different industries, because now when you go out to get those jobs, even a job working at McDonald's, they're going to pull your credit report.
I learned something recently that I was not aware of. Insurance companies pull your credit report.
Yes.
And base your cost of insurance on your credit report. I didn't realize that.
And you know what they do? They don't only pull it, and that's what people have to understand. When someone pulls credit, many times they think that they're pulling that credit that one time.
Right.
You know, right when you first go to get the insurance or you first go to get the job. But they're going to do that at any point throughout the time that your tenure with that, as long as you're signed up with that company.
And they won't notify you.
They do not know. They do not have to notify you. When you sign on with them, in the fine print that most people are so happy they're getting their insurance, or happy they're getting the jobs or the credit cards or what have you, that they're not reading the fine print. But the fine print says that they will at any point in time continue to pull that credit. And so therefore that's tied to your credibility.
I see. Well, is this also available to companies besides just individuals? This plan?
That particular plan, yes, it is. That's available to companies to have, because what has to happen is we have to look at the personal credit. We do a extended program beyond that, and that is with the Dun & Bradstreet side, and that's the side that I bring to that, and we work for those who are actually going to go into business for themselves. And so even a head of a company, your C-level, meaning your CEOs or your business owners or what have you, all those people, anyone who's going to be fiscally responsible or fiscal signatory for that particular company, we need to make certain that their personal credit is in order first, and then we move them over into the business section, and then we can make certain that the business credit is in order.
Well, a business being, approved by Dun & Bradstreet has always been, in my mind, the gold standard, right?
Yes, it is.
They've been in business since...
They've been in business for the last 177 years.
Wow.
So they've been in business, and they currently, they have over 250 million clientele worldwide. They are a worldwide concern.
Oh, I thought they were just an American-based company.
No.
Does a lot of people think that?
Yes, most people do.
Really?
Most people think
I'm
Dun & Bradstreet is the United States, but no.
Huh.
Dun & Bradstreet is a worldwide company, and
Okay.
so therefore, and that's a gift. That in and of itself is a gift to the business owners. They don't pay for anything extra. If you want to do business with a company in the United Kingdom, you can simply look them up, contact that company, and offer your services to them.
From a company's value standpoint, a company's been in business 10 years, owner decides to sell. He doesn't have a Dun & Bradstreet approval. Another guy's in the same situation with his business, and he does have a Dun & Bradstreet approval. Would that mean that person number one would not get as much for his business when he sells it as person number two, and is that transferable, the Dun & Bradstreet trademark or approval for a company?
It is not transferable, because in order for you, each person is the same thing as your personal credit.
Okay.
You can't transfer. It would be
I
wonderful
see.
if you could transfer your personal credit to your
Okay.
children,
I see.
but you can't.
I see.
Each company has to build their own credit on their merit and on what they do.
So it may or may not add value to the company in a resale situation.
It may or may not. It depends. The company, each corporation is going to have its value based
Right.
on the business that it's in.
Right.
What it will do is, generally, if someone wants to do business with you, they do their due diligence about your company, and they don't see that you're on Dun & Bradstreet, and they are on Dun & Bradstreet, they may or may not then solicit you to do business.
I see.
Much of the business that we get is not because we pulled out or we sent out marketing materials we could not possibly market to all the people who contact us. Many people just simply look on Dun & Bradstreet, and then they look us up there and see what we have done, and because of that, they will contact us.
I see. Well, that's a pretty interesting concept. It's better to go with the best. If you can have a business, folks, always try to strive for the best. I mean, that's obvious. And it sounds to me like you're having a business that has a Dun & Bradstreet approval to go along with it is a sign of that you're one of the best out there.
Right, exactly. Because
That's priceless.
Yes, yes it is. Because one of the things that Dun & Bradstreet offers for you is, go with that brand, because then now you're already branded, and that's part of the work. So you could be a very young company, but now you're with a very old name, so you now benefit because you're in the house and you're under their covering. Now,
can a company advertise that fact?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They want you to.
Okay.
They want you to, and they will. They'll continuously ask you.
Okay.
For your advertising material. They have marketing. They have marketing services. They have advertising services. They have the Hoover's list, and the Hoover's list. The Hoover's list. This was a list that, if you remember, here in the States, there was a show he did, the Kiplinger.
Yes, I remember it.
Harvey. He had the show on.
I used to watch Louis Rukeyser on Friday nights, the investment show. Love that show.
And they talked then years ago about the Hoover's list. And it was very hard for a company to get on that Hoover's list. You had to really jump through so many hoops. You had to have so many employees. The integrity had to be there. It was scrutinized, everybody in your C-level, almost all the way down to your director level. Their credit, their integrity, their everything was scrutinized very heavily, and then they would give a company approval to be on the Hoover's list. Now these lists, they're still very well scrutinized and very well kept. Those Hoover's lists, when you sign up on Dun & Bradstreet, we give you 200 names free in your target market.
Wow.
For you to poll out to for business.
That's great.
And so that would be whatever 200 people in whatever industry that's going to help you to promote your business.
Mm-hmm. You talk about business, and we're a small business. This network is a small business. And what's always interested me is, I mentioned I used to watch Louis Rukeyser in his stock, show. It was all about the stock market. Mm-hmm. He interviewed some really knowledgeable people, and I just used to enjoy the fact that it was such a laid-back situation. They all had nice big chairs they're sitting in, and kind of like they're talking in their living room. I love that format. I've tried to bring it to my show in a sense.
There you go.
But they never talked about the penny stocks. It was always about the big companies. And I always thought, I used to like to watch stocks because I used to like to play the horses. So it's kind of like the same thing. And I thought, man, that would be an interesting show. Create a penny stock show and just pick out a few companies and talk about them for a half hour. And I keep going back in my mind to the late 90s when I was invested in the market, much heavier than I am today. And I passed up a chance to invest in a company for $3 a share. That company was Amazon. Now they're $1,300 a share.
Well, what we have to...
you think there's a market out there for little companies?
Oh, yes. There is a larger market for smaller companies than there are for larger companies. When you think about it, $1,300 a share. So that means that your shareholders, everyone, just one share is $1,300.
Right.
So if I wanted 100 shares, I've got to spend $13,000.
Right.
But if I wanted to invest in a smaller company, then maybe that was a penny a share. Not so bad.
Didn't Facebook start like that?
Exactly. Facebook mostly all of your companies started out very small. Not with a lot of money when they started out in the marketplace. They started out very small, and the reason being is because of this. That is a strategy. That strategy says this: what you want to do is you want to gross the largest number of people who believe in what your product that you're selling or that you're offering, or your services that you're offering. So therefore you don't start out very high. You start out very low, so that the everyday person, because there's more everyday people than there are people,
rich investors. Yeah.
So you want to get as many of them, because what you want to do is show to the rich investors that you're trying to get to invest in your company that you have a lot of people who believe in your product or services.
Right.
So what better way to get it? You rather come to them and say, I have 10,000 people. See, here are all the shares. Here are all their names. Here are all the stock certificates that I have who have invested in me, who believe in what I'm doing. Now I can come to you and ask you to give me the large dollars.
Now, is this something your company's involved in creating?
Yes, we do. We do that, yes. And that is actually the core of Sand Peak Financial Group. We're a commercial lender, and we are a capital raiser. and we do arrangements of participation loans. So with those three areas, of course, we loan money, we'll finance and loan money
Right.
for different projects or what have you. And then we will also raise capital for businesses if they want to, if they need capital for growth, expansion, development, we will raise capital for them. And then we will also help companies if they do want to go over into, some stock offering, for their companies. We will
Interesting.
help them with those.
How would someone get a hold of you to talk about perhaps their business and what they'd like to do going forward?
Okay, that's very easy. They can just go out to our website at www.sanpetefinancialgroup.com, and that's www.sanpete financialgroup.com, or they can call us directly at 832-819-5260.
And you're headquartered here in Atlanta?
Yes, we're headquartered here in Atlanta. We're actually at 200 Peachtree Street Northeast,
Okay.
right downtown.
Great. It seems to me that if a company wants to, do a lot of the things that you just brought to the forefront here today, they'd have to develop a business plan.
Yes.
That would be one of the criteria, right? Do you
Right.
help them do that?
Yes, we can help them to develop that business plan, because many times when companies come to us, a lot of companies, they come to us, they have their business idea, and many of them do have a business plan, but that business plan does not speak to a financial institution or to a financial individual.
Right.
And so when we help develop a plan, we're developing that plan more to speak to what the financier is looking for, or what that investor is
Right.
looking for. And then so we're not, it's not just simply speaking to what your vision or what have you. You have to speak their language into them, because that's what they're going to read.
Okay.
Because we go to guests that they're going to be reading, they could be reading, some 10,000 different financial plans, especially the
Well,
way they can come to them now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but a business plan is something that reflects what you want to do with your company going forward. Does it also reflect what you've already done in your revenue base, what's coming in every
Your
month?
financials.
Your financials.
Yeah, your business plan is a forward-looking plan to what you're exactly right, what you want to do. Your financials are going to reflect what you have done.
I see.
And then having done that, and then if you are going into a new venture, it's going to give you some forward-looking on what your projections are, what you're going to do. So you can have a business plan, and your financials would be, if you wrote it this year, it would be 2017, and we could go, say, 5 years in the future to 2022.
I see. Okay. Well, wow. I hate this show for one little reason. It's not long enough. I have all these great, interesting people on my show, and time just flies by, and I could talk with you for another hour. But, instead of doing that, I'll just have you back real soon. How's that?
Okay, that's
'Cause I think
good.
you have
I
a lot
like
more
that.
to tell us, and
Yes.
I know our guests find you very interesting. And thank you so much for being here, Yvonne.
Thank you so much
Really
for having
enjoyed
me.
it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody. See you next month. Keep it real.